Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I want to speak about how you should never doubt your twin flame connection. So, a lot of you will be very confirmed about somebody being your twin flame. And in that case, I would really like to advise you that at any point of time in this journey, you should avoid doubting your twin flame or doubting your twin flame's intentions towards you or their love towards you. The way your divine masculine counterpart loves you is something which is way beyond even them. Which is to say that, like their ego, their mind, their collected experiences so far, all of those cannot comprehend the way they love you. And this is also why they run away, because it is very scary for them. And in many ways, if you just speak directly, then we can understand that you have triggered many fears in them, maybe their fears of low self-esteem or their fears, the realization of how they've been living their lives so far, not in a very profound way. And also there is a deeper purpose behind their separation and them ghosting you and all of that, which is that you also have been somewhere not living your complete life the way you can. You also have been codependent, and you also have written yourself off in many, many ways. As a human being, you could have compromised a lot on your ideals, on who you are, and tried to do things to fit into the world. So, this is that separation, which brings in that necessary realization for you to come into the space of who you are, to come into finally releasing all the patterns that have been holding you down. So, that is the larger purpose of separation. But having said that, at any point of time when you start to doubt your twin flame connection and you doubt your divine masculine, that is when the universe will show you many, many signs that you don't have to doubt them. You don't have to doubt their intentions. At no point of time should you make your divine masculine your enemy or think of them as a bad person, as a narcissist, or something like that. If you're currently in a state of disempowerment, where you have given your power away to them or to anyone else, where you feel helpless because of the situations you are in, you feel like you don't have the power to like rule over your situations. If you feel that situations overpower you, then you're not in an empowered state. And if you feel that anything that is happening, whether with your divine masculine or in your personal life, you think that has more control over how you're feeling and how you're living your life, then you're not in an empowered state. And that is the purpose of twin flame separation, that you, by yourself, you learn how to overcome all of this. You don't make it about the divine masculine. You don't need their physical support in life to, come into your power. You have to realize that you always have them in your heart. You always have um, their 5D presence with you at all times, because you are the same soul. At no point of time are you not with them. All right. But the point is that in your physical world, sometimes you have to go at it alone to unleash the power that you have been suppressing in some ways, that you've not had an opportunity to let out. Now, when you go into the doubt, the doubt for your twin flame love and all of that, always know that that doubt is coming from past pain. This is something which many of you will not necessarily acknowledge right away, and you will say, no, I've processed all of my past pains. And trust me, it's not like that. There is always more pain to process. Otherwise, you will be in 100% union consciousness with 100% twin flame union. At least intrinsically within you, you would be in union with your divine masculine. But if you're not there, that means there are still some blocks that you have to process and that you have to release. So be very honest and be open to looking at the blocks that you are carrying within you, This openness is very important because many divine feminines can just think, no, I have done everything. I don't have any wounds. This is all in the past. I don't care what happened to me when I was a child, and I don't care what happened to me when I was a teenager. It all matters because it has all given you a certain template unconsciously from which you're still operating. That has to be uncovered, and that is somewhere feeding your behavior. That is the problem. If that happened and you've forgotten it and you've moved on, it's perfect. But the point is that because that happened, it is feeding a lot of your compulsions, it is feeding a lot of your behavior. You all know about the power of subconscious mind. That is, just some research you can do on your own about how the subconscious mind impacts us. Then you also know, spiritually speaking, also, just today, as I make this recording, it's Sadhguru's daily quote that if you want to overcome your compulsions in life, you need to be intensely attentive to the compulsions. And this exactly is, what twin flames have to do as well. That we have to look at that subconscious pattern which is driving certain compulsive behaviors in us. The compulsive behavior of doubting your twin flame connection, for instance, or doubting your divine masculine. What is really bringing this up? You have to pay attention to it. It is coming from something from your childhood. It 100% is coming from a space of your past experience of betrayal, where you trusted someone with all your heart, but they did not show up for you in the way you expected them to, right? It does not mean you blame the people that you trusted, that you hate the people that broke your trust. No, it's just a play of life. Your ego is just playing a game in life. And in this game, you get bruised, you get hurt, you have some victory, you have some defeat, but it is all to be taken non seriously, objectively speaking, because it is not real. All right? But the point is that since you're not spiritually awakened, in the sense that you're not an enlightened being whose every act is conscious, the way you're sitting right now, you've consciously decided, you consciously placed your feet in the way you've placed them right now. You've consciously moved your hand the way you've moved it, you know. You've consciously blinked your eye. You've consciously been aware of how your back is right now when you're sitting and listening to this. We're not. We've done a lot of it unconsciously. Just the compulsions of the body, the way the body is comfortable, that has happened. The way you would have spent a majority of your day to day would be unconscious. Just going with, repeating the karmic cycles. So this is where ego becomes prominent for us, because now ego has a power over us. Ego has the compulsions, the past pains, and all of that, that it continues to impact us because we've not become spiritually 100% conscious and awake. We've not become enlightened. We're not very highly conscious individuals. We're not mindful of everything all the time, every second of our life. We're not. That is the ideal. So don't get triggered by it, because that is the spiritual ideal that people do a lot of meditation and practice and follow a very strict spiritual discipline to become like that, right? Since you're not there yet, the ego will have some power over you. So it is important to understand this ego and to understand the wounds that this ego is carrying from maybe very innocuous circumstances. So if you're trying to, let us say, in as a child, you really trusted maybe either of your parents to show up for you, let us say your mother. You thought that, oh, my mother, will do things for me, and one moment she was really nice to you. So maybe the next day you went to her and you showed her something that you had done or you'd made, or you discussed something with her, and she was cold with you, or she ignored you, or she just maybe downrightly, insulted you or said something else which felt very hurtful to you, right? And then again, she became nice to you the next day, so again you became really nice to her. And then again you trusted her with something, again you went and showed something or discussed something or requested for something, and again, she then decided not to be very nice to you. This was just a karmic pattern that you had with your mother that you were following. Where did this karmic pattern come from? Definitely a past life, because the soul is just experiencing both sides of the same situation. You would have been doing some activity like your mother is doing now in a past life to someone else, and now you've come here to experience the other side of it. All right, this is just the way it all works. I know this is too simplistic, but this is the way it is. So now, because of this, you carried some childhood wounding. You can never really trust. When you trust somebody, it hurts you. People always betray you. You don't deserve love. Your needs are not important. You see, all of these beliefs got created. All of this pain fueled all of these beliefs to get created, right? So, when you will go and uncover these beliefs, and you will uncover the pain that you felt in these moments, and because you've not looked at this pain for all of these decades, this pain will seem like a monster, right? It's like a monster you don't know. But once you see it and you feel it, you experience it, you allow yourself to cry and you get over it, then you have overcome this monster. Now you know it's not really a monster, it's just a little puppy maybe that you can very well coddle and you can very well manage. All right. So this is the process. Understand that your twin is your perfect mirror. So whatever you are feeling about your twin flame connection, if you have doubt, you have anger, you have irritation, you have a sense of betrayal, like, or you have like you can't trust your twin, and you can't sort of you don't believe in union, you don't believe it's possible for you. It's all coming from your childhood, most likely your childhood, which definitely spilled over into your adult life as well, strengthening those experiences. All right. So it's not possible. It's not a fact that you will not come into union. The fact is that you are in union already, and it can manifest in the physical when you've healed enough to allow the merging to take place within you, merging of both the energies, and it will manifest in the physical, right? But that merging needs a lot of work because you have to be prepared for that merging. If you still have lower energies in you, like distrust and betrayal and lack of self love and all of that, then it's not going to happen. Similarly, low self esteem is something that you may feel that you're not good enough for your twin, or your twin will find someone better, or your twin will not recognize who you are because you're not that good, the connection was not that amazing for them. If you have any of those feelings also, those also come from a childhood wounding where your self love was impacted. You somewhere learnt that you were not worthy of love. All right. So, this is the entire process of the journey. It's a process where you are uncovering where all you have been hurt, and why it is important to uncover where all you have been hurt, because whether you believe it or not, consciously, unconsciously, all that hurt and pain that you suffered is impacting your behavior every day, every moment. The way you sit, stand, your posture, your body language, everything is impacted by the behavior that you were faced with when you were a child, the pain that you carry. If you have low self confidence, you will have hunched shoulders, for instance. Where is that low self confidence coming from? Something somebody said in the childhood about you, and then you just sort of withdrew and you became like this droopy person. So, and it's still impacting you right now. You're still walking with, drooping shoulders, right? So this is just an example that it is still surfacing in your life. This is a visible example. In many, many ways, the way you are still acting, maybe you are very cold and distant with the people around you. Maybe you don't feel comfortable opening up your heart with the people around you, really sharing how you're feeling. I'm not talking about your twin, I'm talking about other people in your life. You really can't be who you are with them, with majority of your family and others, simply because somewhere you've been hurt by that. So now the new normal for you has become to be cold and distant, and just to make adjustments around your feelings and just operate like that, right? Which is not the right way to live life, because there is so much profoundness which is available to us as life, and it is not fair to life to not live it profoundly, because the profoundness is available, but sometimes we are too afraid of the profoundness of life, so we just skirt around it and we just live it superficially. We live it without engaging our emotions fully, without engaging who we are fully, with our parents, our siblings, our friends, or just life in general. You need not even have these people. Just plants, just butterflies. We're afraid to open ourselves up because we've been hurt. Which brings me to the last bit, that when you doubt your twin flame connection, one major reason behind that is also your own fear of vulnerability. Until you are able to own your vulnerability, you're able to own the shame that you feel in your vulnerability and which you've ever felt before, which is still impacting your current way of living life, which is not vulnerable, right? Which is not allowing people to break through the walls that you have, which is still giving a lot of defensive statements about who you are and what you're doing, which is still afraid of getting hurt or getting pushed around. And it's okay if people around you are still pushing you, if people around you may still be people who are triggering you. That means there is more for you to heal there. You have to come to a state where you're not triggered. So some people are doing you a service of triggering you and essentially making you aware of where all you need healing. And of course, yes, it is important that you distance yourself from people who are um, you in some sense feel they are not allowing you to be who you are, or interfering in the way you're living your life. Yes, that distance is very crucial and very important, but ideally in this journey you have to come to a state of so much zen within you that you're not impacted by how others behave around you, right? That is also a spiritual ideal. Maybe it is not that necessary for your journey, but it is a very good spiritual ideal to have, that you come into a space of love and you come into a space of zen peace within you, wherein you realize that the remote control of your emotions lies with you. And just because somebody hurts you or has hurt you in the past, when you let your guard down, when you trusted this person with who you were, because of their own hang-ups or their own karma, their own way of being, their fear-based way of thinking, they could have hurt you, or they could have shamed you for being vulnerable, for being your true self. But now you have to own that shame back, because remember that as a life you're not impacted. Really, it does not matter what others say or do to you. As a life, you're always perpetually connected to the source of existence, and that is where your sustenance is coming from. All right, and that source is very open to your vulnerability. The more you're vulnerable and open to the source of existence, to the divine, the more the divine will pour his love for you into your heart. You have to be open to it, you have to allow it to happen. Why we don't allow it is because of the fears and the traumas, all right? So do not give your power to other human beings to impact your life. Give all your trust and faith to the divine, and the divine rewards your vulnerability. And your twin flame connection, very important, will always reward your vulnerability in many, many ways. Even it does not mean that, so many twin flame readers will say that, oh, you should not be telling your divine masculine how you feel, you should not tell them about this or that. And there is nothing wrong or right with this journey. If you've told your divine masculine that you are twin flames and then he ran away, or you've told your divine masculine that you love him and then he ran away, it's okay. It was something you needed to do in that moment, and then you learned that the source of your love is within you. You were somewhere craving that validation from your twin, but then this journey taught you that that validation that you're craving from your twin is essentially the validation you have to give to yourself. It's okay if you have contacted your twin and they blocked you or ghosted you. It's all right, because you're learning. How can you not learn, without trying something? It's okay if you've done that. There is no wrong or right thing to do in the journey. But just every moment you can try to become more conscious, have more faith in the love that you share with your twin, and look at the places where you're not able to be vulnerable, where you're not loving yourself, where you are somewhere not hopeful about the journey, somewhere you think that this is not going to come to pass. It's all because of the fear based experiences you've had in the past, which have inculcated this feeling in you that good things don't happen to you and all of that. So that is the inner work you have to do. Otherwise, you will keep looping on the journey. You have to go within and allow yourself to see where you're not being your vulnerable true self. Okay? So, this is all I wanted to speak about. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. And before I close this off, I do want to definitely, something just came to my mind that I want to speak about the power of vulnerability. In spiritual, like folklore in India, like from what I just can think of right now, any devotee, or anybody who was in love was always shown to be very vulnerable. If you've read the poetry of Rumi, which I think many of you may have, because it will resonate with you now in the twin flame journey, especially, you will realize there is a lot of vulnerability in what he is expressing. If he is opening himself like this and he's making these grand professions of love, that needs a lot of vulnerability, and there is great merit in that. You see, in India, there was, Radha and Krishna, and Radha was very open about her vulnerability, her love for Krishna. Meera, who was a devotee of Krishna, also was very open about her love for Krishna. She came much, much later after Krishna's time, but Krishna is a being who is beyond time and beyond space. All right. So, similarly, there are other devotees, that were Shiva devotees, for instance, and they were very openly, freely vulnerable. There is a story of a Tamilian lady called Akka Mahadevi, and you can look this up if this interests you, but she was very vulnerable herself in her devotion for Shiva. She didn't care about even wearing clothes or about, doing, working through social norms, because this is just the power she held. There is great power in vulnerability. And I don't know why this story is coming to me for the Western audience here, but you'd have heard of the story of Lady Godiva. And that is a story I read as a child, in one of the books I used to have. And how she, to sort of support a cause, which I can't remember right now, but she basically rode a horse completely without clothes, in that time when this was not very normal and this was not very possible, when women were very suppressed and nudity was considered to be against the law of the land and all of that. But that takes a lot of vulnerability to be naked and to ride a horse like that, to support a cause. And she is still remembered right now, right? Across cultures, people still talk of her. Like right now, I'm talking about her. There is great power in that vulnerability. So remember that the vulnerability that is what is really going to set you free on this journey. You don't have to walk around with walls around your heart and say, I don't like my twin and he hurt me and this and that. That is a lesson that your divine masculine is also learning from you. As the feminine, you are in some ways, the feminine energy is in some ways, she owns vulnerability a lot more than the masculine does. It comes more easily to her to be vulnerable, right? Like a mother, for instance, is more expressive of her love. The feminine energy is like that. So your compassion, your vulnerability, your true heart, if you wear it on your sleeve, it is your strength, right? And don't be afraid of it. Sometimes many feminines, we operate in a masculine energy, which is where we have killed our vulnerability. We've just become slave to the society, just trying to act like the society has expected us to act too much in the yang or the masculine energy, and not stopping to smell the roses, quite literally, but this is where your beauty lies. All right. So always remember that. And of course, when your energies come into balance, you will know when to have your boundaries. You will know when to have loving boundaries. You will know when to, for instance, protect yourself from situations which may be detrimental to you. This is all a very natural process. So it's not that you will be wearing your heart on the sleeve and going into a war zone all the time. You will know when to be, you will be yourself very effortlessly. And yet at the same time, if there are people around you who may hurt you or harm you, if you know you are being too much of yourself, then you will know that that is the case. You will become balanced enough to know that your inner masculine will be active and you will protect yourself. So don't have to worry about it. You don't have to artificially try to protect yourself. It's a very natural flow of life. All right. So just allow your heart to be open. So that's all, guys. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Take care. Sending you lots of love.